Welcome to the Ghost Heads Nerd Talk Podcast. Interviews and conversations about nerd culture from all around the world. Now here are your three Ghostbuster hosts, Joe, Rain, and Bell. Enjoy the show.
Hey, all you cool busters and bustettes. I'm Ghostbuster Joe. Unfortunately, Vane and Val cannot be here tonight. Unfortunately, Val may be here a little bit later, but Rain, I want to wish you and your wife a very happy anniversary. We love you, Rain. You mean the world to me. As I said in every episode, she always goes, oh, but she's, she has a lot. She has deeply roots in here on Ghost Head Talk. But tonight, I'm my substitute co-host. You know him, you love him. Welcome, David.
Hey. Hope everyone's doing well.
Awesome. It's awesome Monday night. I should be watching Netflix, but I always my nerd me goes, remember us? You keep forgetting that we're still here and we didn't fall off the bridge of YouTube. We're still here. We have one of your friends here, Dave.
Ultra Carzil, yep.
Welcome. Oh, another one of your friends. Hello, welcome.
Kenzo's Creations, yeah. Amazing creator right there. Anyone who's into action figures, dioramas, Kenzo's amazing channel. A lot of people who might be coming through are going to be toy collectors.
Love that. Toy collectors are the most important part because they will tell you the truth about any toy they have had in their lives or having. You know what I mean? Like, and hence behind you. As I know, I started out just like with the little boy with the little WWF toys, and then it just grew. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. I started out with collecting the WWF toys, and it's so funny because these kids now that collect toys, they don't understand. They're like, they think that everybody has to start with these new generation of toys. If you probably have them somewhere in an attic or in a box somewhere in the house that you're not touching. Show it off.
There's still a big contingent of vintage collectors. In fact, some people are going back to the smaller scale collecting now because you have more room. If you go to, instead of like going with a 7-inch figure, if you go down to like a 3 3/4 figure, like the vintage Star Wars figures, you can get more on the shelf than most people can. So vintage is coming back. I know a lot of people who hunt for vintage, like wrestling figures. Here in Buffalo, we got a place called That East 80s Toy Shop. They always have vintage, brand new. They have tons of just all over the whole gambit. So, I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people who started with wrestling. I never actually had a wrestling figure growing up.
Wow.
Well, like I said before the show, like we didn't have a whole lot growing up. Like I had Legos, I had a couple G.I. Joes, maybe a couple secondhand Transformers, and that was basically it. So for me, I did a lot of did some model building when I was younger, but mostly like a lot of Lego stuff, like just letting your imagination, because we didn't have the Lego sets like they have nowadays.
And you had a slinky and you straightened it too. Please tell me.
Yeah. Well, we had part of a slinky. It was part of a slinky. What can I say? Nerd affiliated. There you go. Yeah. This guy, the nerd affiliated in the chat. He's from. Go on Instagram. Check out the Real Nerd Busters.
Real Nerd Busters.
They're
what is this? This is Joe's Ghost Head Nerd Talk that's existed for 8 years. It's on my channel, the Joe Panther Variety Show. Go back and watch it. My Aunt Lizette, she said it, and I'll never forget this. My Aunt Lizette says, Randy, do you realize your show you've done it since the Dark Ages. And my uncle's like, Dark Ages. And I'm like, and she showed me, she turned her phone, and all you see is the outline of my face, no ring light, no background, just you're on a dark, and with a dark background. And I'm like, Dark Ages.
Yeah,
Got it.
there you go.
It's the darkness of the of the basement of my parents' house. Hence, basement driller.
No,
Ray,
he meant
yes.
about me actually being on a live on a Monday night. It's not my show; it's his show. I'm just guesting.
Yes, he's
Very
coming in.
special
He's
guest
coming in to
star.
show the love. Yes, Randy. Yes. Now get it out your system, chat. Get it out your system. The world now knows Joe's real name is Randy, and now get it out. Get it out
There
your
you go, Archer.
system.
You're always using government names. What's up with that, man? Come on, come on, Steven.
It's like nobody knows Joe Panther the Third, and then they go, and then at a wrestling show, I'm gonna have to hit you with the reality, king with the crap. I'm gonna. So if you ever go to a wrestling show and you say Randy, see, here we go. Oh man, I'm just gonna hit you in the head with this title. Boom, boom, boom. That's a sneak peek. What's coming next month? Oh my God, it's beautiful.
There you go.
I think
A podcast championship belt. Very cool.
Yes, and even though it doesn't have the ghost head logo, I should have put it on one of the plates. It still represents that this awesome podcast, because if it wasn't for this podcast, Dudes at Ringside wouldn't have been in my head. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been these glasses right here. No one really knows until unless you know, and you're in that group. You know. Yeah. So you said you start when did your channel start? Like when did this start?
My channel started around, what was it, about I want to say 2018, 2019, but it really didn't evolve until maybe 8 months later, because I was following other people on YouTube, and I came across Sleeping Collectibles, who's big in kind of, well, there's so many different toy communities out there, it's not even funny, but I came across Sleeping Collectibles, and I connected with like 20 or 30 different other toy tubers, and some of the people I've been friends with, and some of them I consider like family. And just you kind of like, because with YouTube, it's like, I always tell people, YouTube is like public access. Anybody can have a show, but then you got your growing pains. You got your trying to figure out what your channel is going to be about, And for me, my channel is a mixture of everything, because that's just who I am. If I usually, when I'm off work, I am probably watching, like right now, I'm rewatching. Don't judge. Go ahead and judge Z Nation, and I might be editing a video, and I'll probably have like maybe some music on in the background. I have like 3 or 4 different things going on at the same time. I also do 3D printing, so like I usually have a bunch of different things going on, because that's just how my brain is. I'm usually going in a lot of different directions at once.
Between me like moving stuff around in my studio, hence I was so watching Superstars, so I didn't even put up my 80s background. It says 80s like behind me. Everybody's like, wait a second, is this a trick? Is this really Dudes at Ringside? You kind of saw the Dudes at Ringside intro before the Ghost Head one. I was so excited to have Dave on. I was like, Rain would have been in the bottom of the screen, would have been doing this. like she made the Dudes intro. She made that intro you guys saw for Ghost Head Talk. So big shout out to Rain, always.
And that's another thing with YouTube. Like, it's amazing what you learn. Like learning to edit and finding out the different platforms. Like, okay, you use StreamYard. I've been using a different platform because, well, I mean, that's one of the big things about growing pains when it comes to YouTube or content creating. StreamYard increased their costs like a couple months ago.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is, it's, it is what it is, and and it's, I mean, come on, StreamYard is like what everyone starts off with.
Yeah. I never I've been using it since this podcast started. It was
Yeah.
just like we went from StreamYard, and then something happened. My former co-host didn't like the way it was. So we went to Restream. It's like a Restream.
No, I know Restream. And Restream is it's got its growing pains.
It's
My
weird.
my partner on Fridays on Outer Dimensions podcast, we were having an issue where he kept getting disconnected. It wasn't his internet, something else was causing some kind of weird, like he would pop off every 30 to 60 seconds. So it's like a
Mm.
bad connection issue. And they can never resolve the issue. They also have a compatibility issue with the Yeti mics.
Ah.
So I can never use my old Blue Yeti because it was this weird issue where if we brought someone on, my mic would somehow kick off, and they said it was a software issue on their end and they had no fix for it. So the fix was I'd have to go to a different microphone. But like every platform has its pluses and minuses. I mean, right now I'm using what is it, Streamlabs. I'm using,
Okay.
which used to be Lemon, the streaming platform, Lemon, but then they bought it out. They rebranded it as Talk Studio. It's nice. It has some pluses and minuses to it. There has some limitations, but it's improving over time, But like that's the thing with YouTube, like you said, the dark ages you were saying before.
Yeah.
A lot of us, we start off with like an old, like I still have a C922 camera on top of my monitor. That's probably one of the first things I started off with. I had really bad lighting until I learned to, buy some cheap Amazon key lights, which I have here. This room has no actual light fixture. So all the lighting is the lighting from the shelving and these two key lights I have here. That's all the lighting I have in this room. I live in an apartment, and this particular room did not have a light fixture. It's a weird kind of a thing, but there's no light fixture. So this whole room is just being illuminated by like some puck lights. I just use like basically 3M strips to hold it up. Cheap Amazon bar lights that are magnetically held inside these garage shelving units for all the figures I have, and all that light just kind of helps it out.
So what with your camera? That's like, if anybody's watching this and they're eating those special gummies, they're gonna be like, "Why is my brain doing this to me on a Friday?" Like,
I treated myself about a month or two ago. Amazon had a deal on the OBSBot tiny light 4K camera, and I treated myself. It's usually $180 camera. I got it for about $129.
wow.
And it's very small. I mean, it is like, it's literally probably about this. That's how high it is. And you got the gimbal here, and then you got the little camera right here, but it's a 4K camera. It's got its settings so you can actually follow it on motion tracking, and I could do hand gestures. Let me see if I can get it to. It can. I don't think it's active right now, but it has gestures where it can automatically zoom in on me.
Wow.
But it's a nice little. It's a bit of an upgrade. It's a better quality camera than I had before, because I had the Elgato face cam. I can actually switch over to that right now. The Elgato camera, I kept having a little, I'm having a short with it right now. There's an issue inside the camera where it won't let me switch over. But like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, part of me is a big tech person. Let me see if I can actually fix that right now.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to the chat.
Rolando, multiversal moderator. This is a guy who's in every channel all at once.
Oh wow!
Like,
so
if you
definitely go set Nerd Talk 84. I sent the link in the chat on YouTube. Definitely give me a follow there. Rain and Val and I are trying to make that channel blow up. We've been trying to. We only have currently currently 27 followers on there. We started it last year. We're really trying to branch out and try to make this bigger. I try to get as much. Oh yeah, is that the second camera? Is that the
This is the Elgato, the face camera, the Mark 1. I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't have any autofocus. Right now I have it between two monitors. That's why you kind of see something to the side here. But I mean, it's an okay camera. But as someone who is like to unbox and show off details, you want something with autofocus, right? And I do also have the C922. This is an older camera, but it's pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
It has pretty good focus. But I was like, well, let me just check out the ObsBot. And this thing, I love that, it follows around and it does it pretty quick.
You could do a whole Ace Ventura, like.
And I mean, it focuses right, like, immediately.
Yeah, because who knows if someone has to read something that you had in your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I personally, I love the camera. It's small, it's portable, and it's so many controls. It has its own software. You download it, bam, it's great. I personally love it. Plus, it kind of adds a little bit of extra quality when you can like move around and it follows you.
Cameraman.
Hey?
It's like, move with me. Someone in the chat was mentioning how we talked about traps yet. No, well, we could you talk about traps right now. We're random.
Oh, who said that?
Who is it? Where is it? I heard them say, dude, it must have been the beginning of the chat. Wait, here we go. New traps. There you go.
Oh, I know what Archer's talking about. He's talking about Spirit Halloween is coming out with traps.
Really?
$150 trap that comes with a pedal. They're doing their own take on on Two in a Box. So they're doing their own take on it, and it's supposed to be $150. The weathering and the way the trap looks, it looks like it's definitely a step up from what they had previously. I've actually had almost every trap that they've had. I had the Walmart trap that had the small little pedal. I don't know if you remember that a couple of years ago during the pandemic. It was under the brand name of Imagine, but technically it was a Spirit trap. I actually rigged it up with a heavy duty pedal, like an industrial safety pedal, so you could just smash the hell out of it. So like if I'm doing events, I would have kids just let them smash the hell out of the pedal. They're not going to break it because it's all metal. And we wired it so that it worked on the Walmart trap. So it worked. So it was a functional trap. But then I think it's like $150. The pedal looks really good, but I definitely see people doing repaints. Yeah, Archer's saying the new traps. Yeah, deluxe. It's definitely they look interesting. They look cool. It doesn't look perfect to me, but it's better than what they've had. And I mean, if you're going to have a functional trap, or I shouldn't say functional trap, but a mechanical trap and pedal for $150, I think is pretty decent considering what they're selling the full scale proton packs for about $250, I think, $260, $270, something like that.
Wow. So
I mean, Spirit, they're stepping up their game now. If they can only step up the maybe the quality of the PKs, although I've had my Spirit PK probably for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they had the PK meter. I was gonna get it, but I'm 5'1", and the one I kept wanting to get, it was like so small, and I could hear people going, "Wow, Joe, their hand's really small, or that PK meter is really big," and I'm like, "Keep on joking. I'm gonna throw it at you."
I mean, compared to the Two in a Box, I mean, there is a big size difference, but the Two in a Box PKE, there's a lot of functionality to that. So they had to kind of make it a little bit beefier, but I personally love it. But still, if I go to events or I go to Comic-Cons or anything, I'm still rocking my Spirit because I can live with that being destroyed. You know, I can live with that being destroyed or damaged, but not my HasLab one.
But yeah, that was one guy was actually going to send me the small one. I would have just accepted it because I'm the leader of Ghostbusters of Pike County. Hence, I was looking for the hat to wear it tonight, and I can't find it in my room somewhere. But I call my Ghostbusters franchise. I'm Ghostbusters on a budget. So I got the flight suit. I got my pack. My dad helped me fix it. He helped me modify it and get the wood back, so it looks like a wooden back to the pack.
Hey, you're talking to somebody who started when he was around 495. I dropped a lot of weight, but I'm still a big guy. I actually did a video on my channel called Ghost Busting for Big Guys, where this is not a flight suit. This is, this is a Lapco mechanic suit. These are mechanic overalls, but I make it work. Thankfully, shameless plug, was it Tools and Talent on Etsy? They finally made a belt that is, big, for big and tall guys. Like the traditional vintage style pistol belt. It used to be like, if you were a big guy, you'd have to buy like 2 of the larges, connect them together just so you can wear it around your waist, or you had to go with the super thick, not always comfortable black Rothko modern belts. Well, Archer in the chat, he actually he did a video, and he also bought the Tools and Talent belts. I saw how great it came out for him, so I bought it. I still have tons of room on it. Like if I was, even if I go down in size, it's a great size belt. I think it goes up to maybe 60 something. So it's a good size adjustable belt. I mean, they actually had a sale on their Etsy store. I don't know if it's still going on, but for $44, that's pretty amazing. That's the one thing I wish Spirit would do, would be plus sizes for some of their stuff, like the coats that they sell, the gloves, the belts. They're always more for the smaller, slender people. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of Spirit, this is a Spirit radio, but I painted the hell out of it to make it look more like, more like the actual radio, because the ones that they start off with are kind of like black. But I did like the hammered gray with Rust-Oleum, and I just weathered it. And I printed out the labels, and bam, I have my radio. I'm perfectly
Did you
fine
open
with
it
that.
and make it like a regular radio, like make it be able to click on the side?
Well, I mean, I did do the there is no, I didn't do the expanded mod. There is a mod you can do. A buddy of mine did that through he bought it from Spongebase on eBay, where there's how you have the basic voices.
Yeah.
There's an additional board you can get to put in there that will allow you to do more dialogue. But this is still just the basic radio. Like you pull I think the batteries are dead on mine. Yeah, I gotta get new batteries for that. But this is just a regular one. When you pull the slide, it'll just do like the same like 6 or so lines over and over again.
And the famous line when he's talking to Peter and he's about to get slimed. Yes, man, definitely. Please give me a subscribe. It really helps me a lot. Definitely give him a subscribe. Also, fellow YouTuber, give him some love.
Although I did pick up this.
Ooh, that's a nice one. That's a pretty
from Frozen Empire. Although you can't really use it. I want to get the right color tape, of course, so I can wear it. You really can't have this on though, because technically these are they're kind of like a ham radio, technically speaking. Although a buddy of mine's working on how to he's been in a lot of different groups. There are some people who've actually disabled the broadcasting feature. So there's
broadcasting?
Yeah, like so that you can't transmit on other bandwidths. Because this is technically like a CB radio, kind of like a ham radio.
Yeah.
Where you could technically you need a license to have this on and operate it regularly. So
yeah, because I guess you'll interfere on people with big rigs, right?
Oh yes. Oh no, not just on big rigs. You're talking police, paramedics, all different types of radio bands.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's why you don't really see a lot of people with those on. They might just be wearing them on their belts, and maybe they'll have the battery dead so that it's not broadcasting. But that's one thing I love about the Ghostbuster community is someone comes out with something, they will mod the hell out of it. You know,
Mm.
I used to have a bunch of spirit packs. I actually sold a couple of them. One of them to fund the HasLab, which I've been slowly modifying myself. And I mean, at one point, my first proton pack wasn't even your average proton pack. First pack I built was actually a Back to the Future themed proton pack. I sadly sold it, but I'm planning to 3D print and build a new one this year. But it's just going to be a bit of a slow burn because I'm 3D printing all the parts. I'm going to do it part by part all the way through. Some of the guys in the chat have seen pictures of the pack that I used to have, and I kind of kicked myself for selling it, but also I want to make a 1-to-1 scale, so it's going to be a bigger and better version.
It's so cool to like and crazy to think that like everybody's packs are built differently and built to the way they feel. You know what I mean? Like there's people that make a pack and they just make it to make it, and then they put it on and go to a show, and it's like, wow, I just wore this thing all day long. And I have mine, and if it's like if the convention center is cold and it was like not hot, because I live in PA, and if I would go to NYCC, that's in October, and chances you may get really cold weather, or it may be still a little bit warm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember when I went, my pack was stuck to my back because I didn't have the piping on it yet. And I had that big sweat spot in the middle of my back. So I took off my pack at the end of the night. And I was like in the train going, oh God. My friend's like, what's wrong? I feel this sweat spot in the back of my t-shirt. I can't even. Oh God. Oh, there it goes. Oof.
I've been to NYCC once. And I'm glad I did not bring my pack because I was just roasting in the suit that I wore, but it was a heavier suit for one. And two, with the amount of people there, I probably would have been nervous. I would have been so nervous at potentially the packing knocked around, bumped in by someone, because I've worn it at small cons where there was no walking room. I've done that once before down in Steel City Con in I think was it Monroeville, I think it is. And that's annoyed me. The only time like I'll wear my pack at a con is if it's a con like I'm actually like fully, with an exhibit with, then I'll wear one of my packs. But it's usually the HasLab I'll wear. So it's just so much lighter because I have a Ben of Kent pack that I built. Ben and Kent props, like they have like the full heavy, just like all the parts. Like it's one of those packs like nuclear winter could hit, the apocalypse. That thing's gonna survive because it's heavy, it's almost indestructible. Although I have broken off a piece one or two times.
My sad story about wearing my proton pack to Comic-Con. I was walking around. Day was fine. We get into a certain area that's like a smaller area that has all the artists, the video game, well, the comic book artists.
Yeah.
I go around a corner and this stupid kid, like teenage adult, is just walking, and he bumps right into my neutrino wand, and I'm just like watching it wiggle in the air, and I'm like, dude, and I went the cat, and he just kept walking, and it hit him, and it just kept walking, and it bounced and hit the ground, and the nozzle just went, and I was like,
see, that's one thing's like I loved that Frozen Empire introduced the arm gauntlet, which I saw one of your teammates it Rain? Rain has one. I made
it.
I love that we have those because now, you don't have to wear a pack; you just wear the arm gauntlets, and you're good to go. You got your gear on. You don't have to worry about lugging around, a 20 or 30 pound proton pack in some cases, depending on it. Archer's saying how he was sad. He didn't bring his pack to Ghostbusters Day 5 minutes in, I didn't regret that decision because it's so. I mean, Ghostbusters Day. It's always so hot at the firehouse.
I don't know if you remember last week, Val and I were kind of like hinting
Yeah.
and kind of jokingly plotting that I talked to my sister Sassy Chica and I told her about it, and she's like, "Let me know a day, let me know the time, and we'll plan something and let you know if your friend's gonna go, Rain or Val, and we can meet for pizza. And I'll go to something up the block, and you could be walking around doing your Ghostbusters thing, and then tell me where you are. I'll pick you up, and we'll leave." And I'm like, I'm in. As I said,
Now, what? Now, if what? It sounds like you've been to New York a few times. Then.
I grew up in Long Island.
Oh, okay, okay. In the city, what's your favorite pizza joint?
Oh,
Is it
oh my
Joe's?
gosh. What's that?
Is it Joe's or there's a few different places?
I've been to Rose's. It's in Queens. That's a good one.
Okay.
It's in Queens. There's
Maybe-
one that my parents used to go to. Oh gosh, I think it was called Roses. It had I don't know if it's still in existence, fans. This stove, you walk in, you go around the corner, and you get hit by heat because they have charcoal. They have a charcoal
Okay,
grill.
they got the old style. The old style
Yes,
ovens. Okay, cool.
that's in my DNA. That pizza place still sits in my brain. Like I'm adjusting my little cute pins on my vest. Yes, I get pins from wrestlers. Yeah, like that. But yeah, they had fresh garlic. You get your pizza, they give you the fresh garlic to go across the pizza and stuff like that. But I think it was either Roses or Patsy's. Patsy's. I think it was Patsy's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know if
think
it's
of
still existent because the son was not doing good and the owner. I mean, I think it went out of business. But as a
'cause
little boy,
I know my friends and I we've done Joe's. I'm trying to think of the other place.
where's Joe's?
I'm trying to think because I'm terrible with directions, but
Me too.
I'm trying to think where. I'm trying to think what the other place was. I can't think of it right now. But that's like one thing. Yeah, I mean, when you're in New York, you gotta get pizza. You know,
What else is there to get?
and
Steak?
well, last year, actually, the wife and I was friends. We did Tavern on Green.
Oh, geez.
Um, I'm sorry. I don't think I'd do it again.
It's so
Because
expensive.
well, it's expensive, but I ordered ravioli because I'm a very picky eater. I am not the healthiest eater in the world, and I was a picky eater. I said, "Well, I'll do the ravioli," and it was like ravioli, but there was nothing inside. It was just like
What?
sauce. But that's how they served it because another person in our group ordered the same thing, and he had the same experience. I was like, "Geez," I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess maybe it's you know." Kind of, I guess it was kind of a, fancy pants version, like hipster type. I
Tavern
don't know.
Green is a spam. It's a
Yeah,
scam.
yeah, and nobody, there was no dogs or anything attacking anybody. That was also a letdown.
That'd have been
No,
hilarious.
it's a very nice, place. It's a very nice atmosphere. Um, very very nice, very very beautiful, kind of very beautiful place. It's definitely one of those places. The experience is definitely there, but like it also depends on what you're into. I'm not a big seafood person myself, so it's kind of like, yeah, I'm that picky guy. I'm a very basic person, simple things.
I feel you, brother. Like when I like where I live in Pennsylvania, we have like three pizza places in my town. Two.
Oh, really?
The 2 or 3 pizza places, no 3, because you have the big main restaurant, the Dimmick, that's at the end of the block. It's a nice restaurant. Guys are really good. They're known for their burgers, like $20 burger, but it's good. I know. You're like, whoa,
Well,
20
no,
bucks.
no. I mean, because most places, like restaurants you go to, bar and grills, you're probably talking about $14 to $18 easy for a burger.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not that crazy. Now, technically, I'm Grand Island, New York. but it's Buffalo
Yeah.
area. So you can't yeah, I mean, you cannot not find a pizza place because it's wings. I mean, we're known for our wings. We have the National Chicken Wing Festival every year.
What do you go to Buffalo for and not have some buffalo wings?
For championship sports teams that never seem to make it to the championship, or if they do,
Yeah,
they lose 4 years in a row to this. I plead the fifth.
to the
Buffalo Bills. You know,
to
what
the
can I
goat.
say?
To the goat.
I mean, come on. We went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, lost twice to the same team. No other football team will ever be able to admit that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, yeah, and by me we have John's, we have the social. I'm name dropping the fuck out of these people, and I don't care. John's, we got the social. We have Joey's Pizza, which is absolutely if you're in the chat and you're from my town, I'm so sorry. Joey's Pizza is trash. Just
Well,
so.
well, we got this. See, here in Grand Island, Grand Island's a really small island between like the Buffalo metro area, because technically you have like Buffalo, Niagara Falls, or you have Buffalo, Amherst, North Tonawanda, Kenmore. Then you hit Grand Island, and then on the other side of Grand Island is Niagara Falls, the city of Niagara Falls. Right? We're small, like we are a small little spot. Like you could drive from one end to the island, maybe around 10 or 12 minutes straight across. It's not that big. There's a bunch of ritzy neighborhoods and everything, but we got this bar and pizzeria comic book shop called Say Cheese. Right on the front of it, you got a big Spider-Man statue right on the front of the building. Inside in the pizzeria, you got this massive, like life-size statue of Hulk. You got a mini comic book shop. You got the bar and the whole seating area. There's all these high-priced, like, collectibles in these glass cases. So it's like a big comic book aesthetic all the way through.
Wow.
So, and they do artisan pizzas. They have food challenges. I mean, you can get a beef on weck there, which is roast beef for those that don't know. Just all different types of foods there. And you know, it's got something for everyone. Kids love going there, adults love going there. It's a pretty well-known bar and grill on Grand Island. But like other than that, we got one other place called Brick Oven, which is pretty decent. So
yeah, we have, and then there's a place that's not pizza that's by me, and I love them, and they know. And one of the girls that's on the that works there, she's a total nerd, and she's such a sweet girl. She knows about the Ghost Head Talk show, and she knows about dudes, and she's like, I'm never able to watch it. I'm sorry, Joe. It's fine. I still think you're amazing. And she started laughing when I said that. It's called Ben's Fresh. It's in Port Jervis, New York. If you ever been to Port, Ben's Fresh. If you're ever rolling through Port, definitely hit your phone GPS. They have award-winning burgers. They have award-winning chili. Their combos are phenomenal. Like 2 hot dogs and French fries and a drink. Their milkshakes are like so good. I had a strawberry shortcake milkshake that it made me think of a Good Humor bar.
Nice.
Yes.
Now, are the shakes like all fresh ingredients?
It's ice cream, but it's still it's.
Well, I see that's a question I have to ask everywhere I go now. Is okay, like I love banana. I love banana milkshakes. I can't have actual bananas in the milkshakes anymore.
Oh no.
I had gastric bypass. I had the bariatric bypass a couple of years ago to help with, it wasn't just weight loss, it was to help with my diabetes. My doctor was pushing me to get it for a couple of years. Thankfully the surgery got me on the flip side where I am no longer considered diabetic. So thank you. But it changes how you digest certain foods. The smallest banana chunk will kind of hold up my digestive tract without sounding too gross, to the point where I have shooting pains in my stomach until it like 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours later, it'll finally just finally break down. But it's like there's certain foods you can digest well. For the most part, I haven't had issues with foods like my wife did, because she and I both did the surgery at the same time
Oh wow.
during the pandemic, mind you. I got it. It was postponed 3 times thanks to the levels of COVID in New York State. So that was fun. I got my surgery postponed a couple times, but I finally made it there. But certain foods, like, they'll bother her like there's no tomorrow. That's the only thing that messes me up, is a little piece of banana, and it just shooting pains for hours. It's fun for the whole family. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll, like, if they say, "Oh no, it's banana flavoring," I'm like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm good."
They have like old. I forgot the name of the ice cream brand they've been using lately because it's like a rare one that you see in like some supermarkets. You'll see on the shelf. I can't think of the name of the brand, but
Rare. I mean,
it's
well, that's kind of like, um,
it's a
I
rare
mean,
brand.
that's kind of a, debatable. Like, what's rare? I mean, like, here up in Western New York, we have a brand called Perry's ice cream, which is very well
Perry's,
known.
yes.
Okay,
Perry's is the one they use. Perry's, they have
so
their strawberry shortcake.
that's rare for you, but it's up here because that's where it's made up here in Western New York.
Ah,
Their
okay.
factories up here, so it's. I mean, everyone knows Perry's. It's just like the most well known one up here. I mean,
I
now
love
if
it.
you would now if you would have said, "Oh, Yingling," because Yingling, we used to have it on a lot of our supermarkets. We don't really have it as much up here anymore.
Yeah, I know. I know Yingling
Yingling
only
ice
because
cream. So yeah, they had an ice cream, but
I learned that when I went there like a long time ago. If you ever guys get a chance, go to the Yingling Brewery and go on a tour. You will get information that you'll feel like a beer genius. Like you'll be like, "Did you know?" Like you'll be that guy at the bar.
now how many of the Ghostbuster days have you been to?
Did you know that this will, if I go, this will be my first? I've
Oh,
never.
okay,
I'll
awesome.
probably be wearing these glasses unless my sister enforces. My sister's like she's my big sister, so she'll be like, "I'm bringing you to Spirit Halloween, and you're gonna get a pair of green glasses with lenses." Because she went with me to an indie show in Brooklyn, and I wore my OGs, and
Okay.
she immediately was like, "Randy, hold on. I'm sending him to your house. I don't like you seeing you without lenses. You don't look right. I'm gonna get you a pair of red glasses with lenses." You know,
Well, like Archer in the chat, he's up in Massachusetts. He came
yeah.
down because he has a few friends who are New York based or who are able to get to New York. So I got to meet Archer for the first time because me and him, we've been talking for a couple of years now. I think Archer, and I was there because, well, I'm a part of the Buffalo Ghostbusters, who organizes the event. So I'm there every year, which is something kind of fun to look forward to.
He said, "Yep."
Yep, yep. And this past year, man, it was something. But of course, it was the 40th. I mean, everyone and their grandmother was trying to, because he's originally from New York, obviously. Everybody and their grandmother were trying to get there, but it's not an easy thing to do. For some people with like big families, I mean, hell, June is graduation time for some. People are trying to do trips. There's a lot of cons going on all over the country around that time of year, so it's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, for me, June is probably one of the busiest months ever, because here in Buffalo, we have a cancer foundation and institute called Roswell Park. I do the Ride for Roswell, which is a bike riding fundraiser, and that's like towards the end of the month. We have a con here towards the end of the month as well. And then Ghostbusters Day in the beginning of the month. So it gets kind of hectic. There's like tons of cons. We have like 2 cons in Toronto, or no, one in Niagara Falls, Canada, another in Toronto. They all kind of happen around roughly the same time, so it just becomes kind of chaotic.
Yeah, it really does. Like I've never gone. I've always heard so many fun stories, and
Yeah,
I know if I go, I'm gonna be recognized, even though mostly people know me for Dudes at Ringside.
yeah.
But if you do a Ghostbusters show, or if I say, hey, because people know me because of my Ghostbusters franchise, the Ghostbusters of Pike County.
Mhm.
But if you say it's gonna be hot that day, I may just throw on the jean vest and just put on. I'm trying to get most people. I have like their. I only have a Dudes at Ringside shirt. I'm trying to get my
Uh-huh.
Ghost Head Nerd Talk logo on a T-shirt, so I'm not just wearing dudes that day. I'm wearing a
Do
Cats hat. Shout
do
out
like
to
a T
Cats.
Public or something, you know? You could
What's
always
that?
do that. You can always do like a T Public.
I'm thinking about doing it. My
You know.
sister, for my birthday, she's gonna help me do a logo for Ghost Head Nerd Talk for the if I want to make a Teespring or
Yeah.
something like that.
I mean, I like T Public just for the simplicity. You can upload a logo, although it's not that easy because it has to meet their standards, or as far as the resolution has to be within this and this. That can be a little annoying. And sometimes, like when you're uploading an image, it looks clear on your computer, but by the time they get it, sometimes there's a distortion there.
Yeah,
But I mean,
pixelation or whatever.
yeah, but I mean, the compression of it all. Um, but like I mean, the upside is, it's not like, oh, you have like, oh, I got 500 shirts that are printed. What am I going to do with them? There's not that. They print it when people order something. But like I mean, you're not gonna get a ton of profit off of it either. I mean, you get like maybe $1 or two off of each watch. But I mean, also they have the stock of the shirts, they do the printing, they do the shipping. If there's any QC issues, well, the recipient who purchased a shirt, well, they have to take it back up with T Public. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
So they can you can offset some of the overhead, because like, I mean, think of like, a lot of franchises out there, they have tons of shirts and also they have to lug those around from con to con or from place to place. If you order something, yeah, it may take a week and a half to 2 weeks maybe, but it's being shipped. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And if there is anything wrong with the shipping, well, that falls back on T Public and their logistics. That's not on you. So I mean, there's some pluses and minuses to it. Although I do wish they did tall shirts that went beyond like a 2X or something. I mean, they're starting to get a little bit better, but they do have limitations. Yeah, Archer's saying GB Days a must go. It's a couple hours, very, very compact, but it's a good time. I mean, last year there were people wrapped around the block last year, but it was great to see all these people. And we raised so much for Tunnel to the Towers Foundation, which is a 9/11 foundation. The firehouse, because it's a functional firehouse, a lot of people forget that. Hook and Ladder 8, they made a good chunk of money off of the merch that they do. They do special merch each year for themselves. So it was a win-win. The guests we had there, I mean, it's just a cool time. I mean, it's like I always tell people, GB Day is like a block party for Ghostbusters. It's just a block party. It's been getting bigger and bigger, and I'm curious to see how it's going to be this year. There's a lot that's in planning right now,
So
and
Ghostbusters is the same age as me. Wow. Wow.
you're 41.
Yes.
These young kids today.
Yes. Good. Nobody understands our sadness.
I got 5 years on you. I'm sorry. I'm 45. I'm
what?
46. I'm an old man.
I'm gonna be that, as I always tell people, I'm gonna be that old man interviewing these young kids. Oh wait, I already am.
Get off my lawn, you little whippersnappers.
I was at work and I said something. I said the word bop, and then all these teenagers yelled at me.
Bop?
I said, "Oh yeah, I was watching me, old man Joe, on Instagram, going, man, I would never want to go to the Bop House." And then I got yelled at by like the teenagers. How dare you? You can't say that word. That word means hus.
Hey,
Wrestling term. Hus-e. Hit you with some wrestling. Hus-e.
I don't know that one.
Hus. You don't know Berserker? Hus.
No.
Hus.
No, I don't.
Wow.
Well, I told you I was out of watching wrestling for a good minute, a couple of years.
He was there mid-90s. He looked like a here we go. Berserker
What
kind of
was he
looked
in the
like
WWF?
yes,
WWE?
WWF,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
He kind of looked like it wasn't like he was a Viking and he would talk, but he had like a lisp like this. And his main thing, he would go, hush, hush, hush.
I'm
I
drunk and
randomly
playing
hit my
it.
mom with that random fact every time. Huss, huss, huss. And my mom's like, okay. My mom doesn't get anything. She'll ask me when am I do a show. She's like, you're at a show tonight? I'm like, yeah, why? She's like, no, it's needed to know. What time? 8:00. Got it. And that's it.
And then
They ask me who I'm interviewing, and if I get a package, they go, Randy, you got a package from Florida. What'd you get? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, open the box, open the bag. Oh, another t-shirt.
Well, I mean, Florida's a tourist place. You got tons of different shirts. You got the amusement parks down there. You got tons of stuff down there.
Yeah.
You
But I
know,
got
what do I have up here? I got nothing.
you got and in the chat, I forgot to give her a huge shout out. She's in the chat. Where is she? Who was way at the top. Sorry, friend. My friend that's on Twitch. She's a fellow wrestler. She's a wrestler and she's a sweet, sweet person. You should definitely give her a follow on Twitch. Big Daddy Adriana. She's a sweet lady. She's an independent wrestler. She's a big mama. She's one of my buddies. She's a gamer. She's a sweet person, and she's a one hell of a wrestler, as Jim Carrey would have said.
Everybody's trying to be a gamer. I'm trying to do some gaming streams now. I'm trying to find some stuff to do.
And she's like,
content creating is not that easy anymore. Well, I shouldn't say it's not that easy. The more traditional YouTube is not that easy.
It's not. It's not.
Because there's a really awesome content creator in the toy community who I follow, and he did a late night stream talking how toy hunting, when you go to a store, you're looking for a specific toy, how toy hunting is actually dying out. That is it completely dead? And the sad part of it is it pretty much is. Most people are going to online, very much just like with movies. How often? When was the last time you went to an actual movie theater to see a movie?
Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Beetlejuice.
The original or the sequel that just came out this year?
Sequel.
Okay.
That's the last time. No,
okay.
I should have specified what. That's why I looked around when I said the name. I was like, oh my god, my room's gonna turn into a black hole.
But I mean, so that was what, summer? Would you say roughly about that?
I think
because I think that came out around. I want to say Beetlejuice was coming. It was in the summer because I remember talking a lot about that and Beverly Hills Cop XLF because I think they were both summer releases. Actually, it was straight to Netflix. It could have been a straight to theater release. That was a really good movie.
Yeah, I'm wrong. My parents saw it and they said it was a horrible movie and it was a shit show.
Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes. My dad did not like it.
I'm an 80s person, but I'm also a big Eddie Murphy fan. And not every one of his movies is good, and I'll admit that. But this one, it felt like a nice, good, proper update. But everyone's got their own opinions,
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But
yeah.
But like I was saying, like think about like people used to go to the movies all the time, and then the pandemic kind of happens, and I think the pandemic kind of put the kibosh on people wanting to go to the theaters because, well, what happened? Well, when we wanted to see movies, you couldn't really social distance. So what happened? They sped up the way that they would release movies onto streaming services. I mean, what? You wait about maybe a month and a half to 2 months now, and a movie is going to be on streaming if not sooner.
Yeah.
And, years ago, like going back to when we were kids, a movie would take like a year or so before it came up on VHS on video, and then with DVD, now it's roughly around maybe 8 months. Well, now when a movie comes out, they might simul release it on digital and also in the theater. So I mean, there's been a lot of change with that, but now we're seeing that kind of transition. We're seeing more brick and mortar stores shutting down. Joann's Fabrics, big craft
Yeah.
company, they shut down 500 locations. They're still going to have 300 across the U.S. I think they're completely shut down here in New York State, or at least they're going to be. That hurts a lot of people because my wife does crochet. Okay, she does a lot of yarn work and stuff. Me being a part-time semi cosplayer once in a while, I will go there to buy just raw materials that I can repurpose. You know, and it's one of the places you could buy paints at a good price, different kinds of materials, markers, art supplies. And now you're not going to have that. Now you have to go online. Just about, I mean, think about it. Bed Bath Beyond. We don't have any Bed Bath Beyond stores in my area.
Yeah.
More
at
and more
all.
brick and mortars are shutting down. I mean, hell, what you go to Best Buy is usually dead. At least the ones by me, they are usually dead. I mean, more and more stores are going towards the online shopping. Hell, even clothing. I'm a big and tall person. We have a chain here called DXL. Used to be known as Casual Male. Now for big and tall stores, we don't, we have that, and that's about it. They announce all. Oh, Archer says they announce all Joann's are closing now. Okay, but I think they're
Wow.
still going to have an online presence, and it's hell. Party City is gone now.
I gotta get there before they get. I gotta buy red and green
Red and green,
English. Yes, red and
green glasses.
English is my favorite language. Red and green.
Just go
Do
with
I
it.
need to be reset? Like I bet I was at work. I got up at 5:15 this morning, so my brain is. I was born Rain and Val. If I say something out of character, because
Time for the old pinhole reset. Hold down for about
yes,
5 seconds. Release. There you go.
yes. As I tell people, I'm an old iPhone. You just stick my ass and push the sides of my temples, and then you just
There you
see.
go.
Hi, what's up? Happened? me. What? Where am I? I was gonna do the funny TikTok video of just a dummy of myself, and then you see me walk on going, what was it? Oh, it's a Sunday. Let's put a polo on Joe, put his regular cap on, and put his red glasses on, and then have him sit up. Hi, I'm Joe the Great, Joe Pan the Third. But yeah, Best Buy is always empty. It's awkward now. They have the stuff that you think, why don't they just get rid of that? Like this stuff
Well,
that they're trying to sell.
I mean, Sears is gone. Penny's is still holding on by a thread. I'm not sure how. I mean, hell, Kmart is dead. I think there might still be one Kmart store that's somehow alive still. Didn't the last Blockbuster finally close in Alaska or something like that?
Did
I
they?
think. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but it's like all these brick and mortar stores are closing. They're forcing everyone to go online. I mean, for some things, there is convenience to going online. I'll admit, I'm an Amazon shopper, but there's times when I'd rather see an item in hand first before I buy it. Hey, I want to buy this coat, but I want to feel the quality of it. Is it going to keep me? Does it feel like it'll keep me nice and warm? Does it feel flimsy? Let me look at the threading on it. Action figures. There is such a thing as having bad paint applications, or when they did Hasbro for a good long minute, they did no window boxes where it was just a solid box. People were stealing figures or swapping the figures in the box. You wouldn't really realize until you got it home. Okay. Or how do you know if the paint apps, there's a lot of side eye that happens when you get an action figure and one of the eyes is like the pupil of the eye is kind of pulled out, like it's drawn further outwards, looks terrible or looks cross-eyed. There was a very infamous Peacemaker action figure made by DC McFarlane, John Cena as Peacemaker, that had this like cross-eyed effect, and nobody wanted to buy the figure. Well, if you didn't have windows on the box, how do you know what kind of quality it's going to be? So there's you get that with everything. Well, hey, yeah, the picture, these jeans, they look really good, but how are they going to fit me? There's no fitting room on an online store, right? How are
No,
you going to know? You're going to wait for it to ship. When it finally gets home, you try it on. It may be like, okay, I do like that Amazon does with some clothing. They do give you an option where you can wait for it to get your house. You can try it on. If it doesn't work, you can ship it back to them. They don't charge you. They do that on very select clothing items. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like where's the experience of being able to talk to a salesperson like, hey, I'm looking for this. Can you help me kind of make a decision? It's just like with movies. I mean, we're seeing a lot of this is a big gripe, and Archer's probably gonna hate me for this. There's a big gripe with a lot of news stories, a lot of news outlets dogging a certain superhero movie that recently came out. And one of my
Thunderbolt?
gripes was,
Thunderbolts.
that hasn't come out yet.
Oh,
Captain
they said a
America.
Super Bowl that just came out. I'm thinking like the Super Bowl commercial. That's
No,
what I thought.
no, that hasn't come out yet, but I am looking forward to that. Captain America, Brave New World.
Mm.
News outlets like Forbes and a few others were, trashing the movie, and these were posted. I think that Wednesday or Thursday night. Personally, this is just my personal opinion. I don't think a company like a news outlet like Forbes, which is a business magazine, has any place talking about a movie. I get that movie studios and movies are big business, but when you see those, and a lot, let's face it, a lot of people who are doing these articles, they're paid to go see a movie. They may not necessarily be a fan of it, just because. And everyone's opinions, opinions are like elbows. Everyone has one. So,
Yeah, it,
that's
it's insane. Like,
so. I mean, it's on the online world is just it has gotten a bit crazy, but that's the thing. It's like, if you think about it, when was the last time you saw a movie like you said it was Beetlejuice? Did you enjoy
yeah, I it was. I
it?
went. I did the abda abda abda. It's like looked like Ray looking into Vigo's eye. Abda abda. Hey, but
Right? Yes.
I went in. I went into the movie because Rain and I did. I don't know if you weren't in the chat for that when we did a prediction show for the movie or whatever we did. We saw
Uh-huh.
it on our own times because I'm in New York. I'm in PA. Rain's in or out west, and Val's in Texas. So I saw it with my buddy Hector. Rain and Val saw it separately. And at first I was like, yeah. We were like, oh my God, see it, it's so good. And then it took me a few days to hit me, and I was like, they could have did so much. They should have never even put the dad in that movie. They should that would have made the movie so much better.
Yeah,
And
and spoiler alert, those that don't know, the actor who played the father in the original movie, who played Charles, uh, got himself in a bit of trouble about
oh
maybe
yeah,
10, 15, maybe almost 20 years ago now. And Jeffrey Jones was the actor's name. He is still alive, technically speaking. Got himself in a little bit of pedo trouble. And they decided to still have his character in there, but his character is killed, and then you see him wandering in the afterlife. And they're using like this kind of like almost like an animation and a claymation to kind of like tell the story of what happened to him. It was Tim Burton's way of like, hey, let's get really creative. Um, I did enjoy the movie. However, I do admit like there are certain things that were just a bit like it's like a toss away line that the Maitlands have moved on. We don't find anything. It's like just like not even a 5 second, like a 2 second blurb, and they're gone. There's like no explanations to that. They could have borrowed the voices of Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. They could have done a lot of stuff. Yeah, Archer agrees.
what was that about? They and the girl and what's her name wasn't even. They didn't make it seem like she was super upset that
Winona
they were
Ryder.
gone. That was
Yeah.
like her best
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, they were. So I mean, there was a lot of stuff that felt like it was missing and it was lacking. But I do agree with what Michael Keaton did. one of his stipulations, I don't know if you're aware of this, one of his stipulations was he wanted to be in the movie in the same amount of time that he was in the first one. He didn't want to be in the movie more than the exact allotted time that he was in the first one. And I agree with that. Because I think some people, and I'm included, some people were maybe hoping, anyone who saw the cartoon of Beetlejuice,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
some of us were hoping for something like that. I think some of us were hoping for something where Lydia and Beetlejuice are friends and they're actually going on these crazy adventures. I think some of us were kind of hoping for something along those lines or something to that extent. And I could have even seen something like that with her daughter,
Yeah.
which would have been a little bit more fun, but they didn't go down this route. They went down a completely different route. Um, I don't want to say this, but it's like if they took a crapped out version of
Yeah.
Tim Burton's original vision and they commercialized some of it, like the dance routine.
Oh God, yeah.
The dance routine that was kind of like a hipster nightmare musical number thing. It's like not everything has to have a musical number, although Star Trek Strange New Worlds, that episode I liked. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like it felt like part of it felt like maybe the studio got their hands into Tim Burton. Said, "Hey, we want something a little bit more entertaining. We want something whimsical. You had a musical number in the first one. We got to have a musical number in this one." With the dinner scene when everyone gets possessed and they start doing the Deo music theme.
Yeah.
I think they felt like, hey, we got to have something like this. So they went with,
I hated that episode.
Archer, you don't know what's good. You don't know what's good. I'm messing with him because he and I have debated in chat a few times about Star Trek. So, but yeah, not actually. Archer, little tidbit. One of the actors in that show they weren't thoroughly pleased with the musical number because they wanted to have a musical situation with a Gorn of all things, but that's a whole other story. But I mean, that's the thing. I enjoyed certain aspects of it, like the boy that wound up who actually wound up being a ghost and tricked the daughter. I did not even see that he was a ghost.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him turning out to be one of the bads. But we really didn't have like the big bad of the movie. I almost felt like he could have been considered a big bad more so than Beetlejuice's first wife.
Yeah.
I mean,
she needed more of a story.
Monica Bellucci, who has been very pivotal in some other movies, it felt like a damn waste.
I was a little mad with her.
It kind of felt like her whole appearance was like a glammed up version of Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
And I'm a Nightmare Before Christmas fan, so that's saying something there. I thought Michael Keaton was, he was definitely channeling his energy. I liked his performance, but there were still aspects of it that were like, how did he wind up with his own business? Because we knew that the what's her name, that the head caseworker hated his guts. So how is it that he somehow has gotten out of what kind of bureaucratic hell that he probably was going to be sentenced to, and wound up starting his own business? And hashtag justice for Bob. Poor Bob. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, that's kind of like it makes you wonder. Okay, do we want sequels? Do we want reboots? Do we want revivals just for the sake of it? Do we, a lot of us want to see certain shows or movies revived, but just because we want to see it happen doesn't mean that we should let it happen. There's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer revival in the works with Michelle Gellar. Signed on to reprise her role as Buffy.
But is she gonna be like the mother?
No, she's gonna be Buffy Summers, because I don't know if you did you watch the entire series I'm one of those nerds. I watched the entire series.
I stopped because I stopped watching it when it like got really weird.
It
And
ended with Buffy unlocking the power of the Slayer, because when a Slayer dies, there is a new Slayer that steps up, right? Because apparently there's potentials all throughout the world. And what she did was using this special killer scythe axe. She was actually able to, with Willow's power, to unlock the potentials of all the Slayers around the world. And they stopped the big bad, so much so that the entire town of Sunnydale collapsed in on itself. The Hellmouth is completely a big, massive fissure, a big, massive sinkhole in California. That's kind of how it ended. A lot of the people died. You still had Xander, you still had Willow, Giles survived, thank God, and you had Buffy and her sister. But now it was the way they ended it was, and they kind of carried over some of the story over to the Angel series, that Buffy was gathering the other potentials around the world to train them, so you could have more than one Slayer at any given time. So it's like her faith in training all these potential Slayers around the world. So I'm guessing it's going to be something kind of like that. Like, it's what, how many years later?
Yeah.
20 some odd years later, we're going to have like her just like still training the Slayers, and maybe it's more like an organization, Slayer Inc., where she's dispatching Slayers to different places around the world, So, but apparently Hulu is footing the bill, so it's going to be a Hulu exclusive. So, the mouse is actually signing off on Buffy, which that makes her a Disney princess. I'm just saying.
Oh, yep. See?
But I mean, come
what's
on.
funny?
Even
Nobody's talking about this.
The alien is a Disney princess.
Yeah, I saw that T-shirt. I need to get that one. But now I got to get the one with Buffy, like, and the girls were like, the princesses are all packing up because they don't want to get stabbed. They don't want to get shanked.
This is what I want. I want the original Buffy to make, she could be like a big bad in like an episode. Have her be as a baddie, and I want to see the two of them fight.
Oh my gosh! God rest his soul. We missed our
Christy
opportunity
Swanson
to have
versus
Pee-wee
Michelle Gellar. Come on,
and have if Pee-wee didn't die, I would love to see him still dying, and he's still running around, and they both stab him. And then he falls face first.
Maybe we can find someone who could be like his brother.
Yeah.
His like semi, not exactly twin brother.
That'll be the most hilarious thing. They're both fighting, and he hear him come out from under a rubble of an old building where he died. And he's like, you guys still fighting? And then the girls just stab him, and he's like, oh no, and then he just falls.
It might be a bit of a stretch, but what's his name? Was it John Lord? What's his name? I'm trying to think of the actor. TV show Gotham. The guy who played Penguin. Now they actually got Paul Rubens to play Oswald Cobblepot's father, like he did in the Batman Returns movie, but he played it for the young Penguin. So if you got him, that actor who played the young Cobblepot, young Oswald, get him to maybe do it. I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch. Robin Lord Taylor, I think his name was. That's the actor's name. I only remember that because he was also in an episode of The Walking Dead. But that's the thing. It's like everyone's making reboots. You have Matlock is a gender switched reboot, but
it's odd to see my mom liking Matlock.
One of my best friends, who is also my partner on Outer Dimensions podcast, he's loving the show. He's binging the episodes. Like he's like, dude, I decided to give it a shot. Bless you. And he's like, dude, it's good. It's really good. Apparently, Kathy Bates is doing a really good job.
She's killing it.
She's a great actress. I mean, all the way from Misery to, I mean, she was in a couple of seasons of American History.
American Horror Story.
She's been in there. I mean,
the house from Virginia, right? That was one that they had on there. Was it Virginia?
I didn't watch the series, but I know of it. So,
Yeah, I think it was
but
with Jamie. I could be
I
wrong.
mean, come on, she was hilarious in Waterboy.
Oh my god,
You
the
played a fool
football's the
on my
devil.
back. But I mean, that's a success. The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. Now, apparently, there's supposed to be some kind of a crossover in the works, possibly for a movie to have like her character coming across Denzel's character, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But there's some shows that just shouldn't be. The MacGyver reboot. I'm a big MacGyver fan. That sucked.
My dad was so mad. He loved MacGyver. He's like, why?
I
Why'd you do that to MacGyver?
I mean,
I'd
nothing
rather
against
watch
the
MacGruber.
nothing against the actor who played MacGyver, but the way that they did it, you know, the Pete, which is Petra Thornton, she was a baddie right off the season one. That was terrible. They had the original actor who played Jack Dalton play a bad guy in one episode, and I'm just like, I don't know. It felt kind of poor. I'm forgetting the actor who was on CSI, but he played Jack Dalton. I liked his portrayal. After he left the show kind of went downhill. It just it felt like it was missing a lot of things. It didn't have the heart that the original series did, I think is what I'm getting at. And the fact that MacGyver's father was actually alive.
What? Really?
Yeah. He apparently he was part of the big organization he was called Oversight. He was overseeing most of the organization. So, they completely changed the whole kind of canon of MacGyver. I don't think we had Harry. We didn't have Grandpa Harry in it. We didn't have hardly any of the carryovers. You just had Mac was a bomb specialist in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then he actually came across Jack. They're partnered up. They're buddies. But this Jack was in the show. He was more likable, I think. He wasn't he didn't have the eye twitch. He wasn't a rogue. He was MacGyver's, heavy. He was the backup. He was the bodyguard. He was security for MacGyver. But they were friends. They had this great buddy relationship. You could tell on paper they were the best of friends. They were basically family. But after he left the show, they kind of tried to revamp the show a couple times, and it just kept falling apart. Same thing can be said for early 2000s. We had a reboot of Knight Rider, around 2008, 2009. I actually enjoyed the show, but by the time it started finding its way, like all shows, the ratings had already dropped too low for it to be renewed. Because it's like every season, that first season of a show, you go through 3 or 4 different variations of it when it's trying to find its actual plot, its actual rhythm, and it just falls apart.
It's insane to think that there was so many different little reboots, but then we're still waiting. Us Ghostbuster fans are still waiting for after we had Extreme Ghostbusters. I don't know if you were in the chat when Rain and Val and I got that discussion on. We got this glimmer of hope that we were getting another series. Netflix was like, "Oh,
that's
you
been
guys are getting something."
That's 2 years ago.
Grab that fishing line. Oh, you missed it. They give you keep.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you want $1?
Yeah.
It's like that commercial. It's like that was 2 years ago. But I get that, for them to do Green Light, you have the writing process, and then you have the art process, and then you have, of course, the test groups and everything to see. Oh, do we have to go back and redraft? Do we have to take a different direction with the show? Is it going to be canonized with the movies? Is because one thing that I think is hurting that was the comic books. The comic books that were bridging the gap between Afterlife and Frozen Empire, the art style was very poor. it was like little kitty type art. The
Mm.
covers look fantastic. Hold on.
You probably have. Let's see a comic book. I heard about them, never got them.
I don't have every single one of them, but some of them were pretty nice.
Oh yeah,
Stop it.
wait, the camera went up. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, look, there's Val.
You know, some of them were really good, but then when you open them up, let me see if I can open up one of these. I haven't even gone through them. I just like bought them through Comic Book Shop when they're coming out. Can I get this open? There we go.
Well, they're still doing a comic book, as your mod said. They're still doing a comic book as of now.
I mean, this looks more like, remember Slimer when they did Real Go? Hey, camera, stop it.
Brain, leave me alone. Who went over there?
Off. Hold up. I will fix that. Motion off. Standard. There we go. So, like, if you notice, like the cartoon art, this is like something you would have seen when like they did like the shorts of Slimer.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the animations, like the art style. Like they really made it look kind of kitty-esque. I mean, if that's supposed to be Ray, it looks like Happy Hogan from
Or
Iron
when
Man.
my vantage point kind of looks like guy from Saved by the Bell. Kind of looks like the
Mr. Belding.
Yeah, Mr. Belding, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, this is not going to grab the attention of the adults because let's face it, when it comes to collecting now, toy collecting or comic books, it's basically the adults. You know, it's us adults who are buying it. If you make something that's kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of kids shows that, you know, parents will plop their kids on in front of the TV and put on Netflix and let a show just run and run and run. But when it comes to comic books, I still think that it's really the us fans who grew up reading comics. I mean, hell, I wish I still had my Spider-Man comics. I had the entire Maximum Clonage saga and how much that would be worth right now. The death of
Actually, it was
Superman and
funny.
everything else.
Dave, you mentioned a rebooted series. Did you know that they actually remember Everybody Hates Chris?
Yes.
Did you know that they actually is a series? I don't know where it's streaming on. There's Everybody Still Hates Chris, and the father and the mother came back for like an episode. The mother from the one that was in Martin.
No, I know who you're referring to.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
father,
her
the
and
one
Terry
that's, you know,
Crews. Yeah.
Yeah, he came back. The series pretty much ends where the last episode ended when Chris gets his GED, but it's like they find out if he passed, and they're in a diner, and all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna smack you into animation. What? And you hear, oh, and everything turns into a cartoon.
Oh,
so pretty much, but
shark
the
jumping.
guy that reviewed it, I was watching the video on YouTube. I thought he was gonna throw rocks at it. He actually says,
no pun intended.
Ha ha ha. He said that it's as good as Everybody Hates Chris when it was a regular show.
Oh, I periodically watched everyone hates Chris. I don't know, like I wasn't a big fan of. I love Terry Crews. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's funny.
But if I don't know, like it felt like Chris. I get that it's just, you know, loosely the story of Chris Rock growing up, but it felt like it was trying to be something more. It just felt like it was missing something, you know?
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It felt like it was missing something, or who knows? I mean, everyone's got their own opinions of it. I did watch it for a good minute, but I'm like, it didn't keep me engaged. And it's just like, and this is how, well, some people are going to laugh and judge me. I never got into the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I know didn't
Yeah.
like it either. They
Yeah.
kind of made fun of me, saying you're watching a boring. You're losing your touch, Joe. That's everybody
You know,
says.
I mean, but also it's like, well, again, and part of that is, well, let's face it, streaming. We're used to
Yeah.
like being able to binge a show all at once. Like, and also if like someone like myself, I don't have broadcast TV. I stream. I have Netflix, I have Disney Plus, I have Peacock, I have all these. I don't necessarily watch live television anymore. And if you don't have, your broadcast channels, you're not able to watch all the stuff that necessarily everyone else is watching. You watch different things, you know. So I mean, maybe some of that has changed and altered, my viewing habits. But yeah, Archer says that they're still doing a cartoon as of now. I just wish they would kind of like, I don't know, like release some promo art,
Yeah.
or release some news like, oh, by the way, we're gonna have this person's gonna be voicing Phoebe if they're gonna feature the current modern day.
Archer's still being put together. I thought the show was over.
So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what they actually do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind if they did if they told a story of after Ghostbusters 2 to kind of
That's
see
what
like
I
where the
want to
guys kind of
see.
went, to see where how the, because I mean, for us older fans, we like to see grittier stuff. We would like to see the guys maybe getting more and more at each other's throats. Maybe seeing Winston, starting the seeds of of his company. And you can't tell me, and I know I say this to everybody who's a Ghostbusters fan, that one employee that he started the company with, you can't tell me that wasn't Lewis.
It was
Lewis would
Lewis.
have been Lewis would have been perfect because one, he's an accountant. He knows how to, to set, how to build a business, at least with finances and assets. That would have been perfect. I always took it that it was Lewis, but I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Or what if they did? The show was maybe like parallels, like they switched off episodes. Like 3 or 4 episodes are like modern day, and then we go back, and the next 2 or 3 are back in the day. We've seen shows do time jumps all the time, so I mean, who knows? I will eventually find out whenever they do it.
Well, Dave, I don't mean to hold you up, but we're gonna do a send off because at that point right now it's at 9:28.
Yes, sir.
My battery's low in my brain because I've been up since 5:15 this morning. But Dave, if anybody wants to follow you on the social medias, how can they find you?
Well, you can find me on Dave's Dimension on YouTube. You can also find me and my best friend, my brother, basically, Dre, on the Outer Dimensions podcast every Friday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on the Outer Dimensions podcast channel, and also simulcasted on Dave's Dimension. You can also find me on Instagram at Dave's Dimension, Dave's_Dimension on Instagram, or just email me at davesdimension78@gmail.com. Later on this year, I am going to be doing Stream for the Cure again, which is a fundraiser I've done in the past to raise money for Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Institute. I've done 8 and 10-hour streams. This year, I'm aiming for 24.
Oh, wow!
So
Well,
I
you
am
need me to
looking
pop in
for.
with-
I am looking for other channels, other content creators who want to collaborate, maybe even take over an hour or two. I'm also looking at maybe doing a couple food challenges.
Oh,
I'm possibly looking at maybe doing a version of the hot one. So we're still in the planning phase, but if anyone wants to reach me, they can just email me at davesdimension78@gmail.com or hit me up on IG.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much, man, Dave. Definitely when Rain and Valor are available, we'll have you back on and have all of us here chit-chatting about the Ghostbuster days or movies, cartoons, or whatever. Thank you so much. Definitely give him a follow. Definitely give this video a like. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Ghosthead Nerd Talk Podcast. Go get on Twitch and give us a nice follow because I just started that channel last year and I want to have that thing blow up. I'm Ghostbuster Joe.
I'm Dave's Dimension.
And just remember, us ghost heads have a lot to talk about. Good night, everybody.